What's up, nerds? Lauren here from nerdcaliber.com, and I'm at Magfest 2017, where we have a question of the convention. This year, we want to know which video game is more iconic, Super Mario or The Legend of Zelda? Let's find out.
Zelda!
I believe that this Mario, Mr. Mario Man, is more iconic to these mortals. And the reason I believe this is because he's everywhere. I cannot get away from him. It's very frustrating. Shao Kahn disagrees. He thinks The Legend of Zelda is more iconic. There's more combat in that game. He still has a reptile brain. You have to excuse the ignorance.
I like Legend of Zelda better. I've always been prejudiced against Mario.
That's a tough one. I grew up with both, but for me, I mean, Legend of Zelda is something that had more of an impact on me than Mario.
I think I'd have to say Super Mario for only one reason. A lot of people play Super Mario before they play Legend of Zelda. It stands through time, and no matter what, it always keeps the same iteration. Everybody loves it just by being what it is.
I think that Mario is more iconic.
I would say Mario is more iconic because he's the face of Nintendo. So I would say generally Mario would be more iconic, but for me personally, Legend of Zelda.
Mario, but I'm a little biased. A little.
I think Super Mario is definitely the most iconic of the two. It is just a classic game. It became started before anything else. And I think it just led to the development of all those other future games beyond that.
I would have to say Super Mario because it's just one of those classic games that everyone's grown up on, and it's definitely fun to play, and it's definitely great for everyone of all ages.
So at the risk of sounding very hypocritical, I'd have to say that Super Mario is definitely more iconic. You see Mario everywhere, and he's been on all of our advertisements, and is more universal, I think, from all ages. So Mario's more iconic.
I believe that The Legend of Zelda is the most iconic because it was one that I grew up with in my childhood. That was my first game I ever played.
I would say Super Mario.
I think I like Zelda more, but I'd say more people know Mario, so I'm going with that.
Mario just has a longer run.
It has to be The Legend of Zelda. Because there's so many cosplayers out there, and so many t-shirts, and so much music.
I have to say Super Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers is like the face of Nintendo. When you think about Mario, Luigi, all the characters, all the different spin-off games, they've been the face of Nintendo. It's like every time any game comes out for any system, it's what's going to sell your system.
So actually, I think that Super Mario is probably the more iconic of the two. It definitely has a lot more recognition than the other, unfortunately, though Legend of Zelda is deep and close to my heart, and it is by far my favorite between the two of them.
No, I definitely feel like Super Mario has a little bit more public recognizability for people who aren't necessarily into video games. Like, if you show someone a Mario hat, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Mario hat. I feel like there's a lot more people that would do that than if you showed them a picture of the Master Sword or something like that. I'm sorry, Zelda, I betrayed you.
The most iconic has to be Mario, because it's all about your jumps.
The most iconic for me is probably all the Marios because I actually beat all of them. Some of the Zeldas, I couldn't hold their swords.
I'd probably say Mario because it has a lot of 90s nostalgia for me, and I really like that game.
Legend of Zelda because the soundtrack is very memorable. And the game was also really iconic because it was different from a lot of other adventure games during that time.
I feel like Mario probably is the most iconic. Zelda definitely has a lot of influence as being an early form of the RPG, and I think it really influenced RPGs as they developed later. But I think ultimately Mario is definitely the more recognizable, and it's the game people know.
Most iconic, clearly Super Mario, because if it wasn't for Super Mario, there'd be no Zelda. There'd be nothing else. That started the whole damn thing.
It's obviously got to be Super Mario Brothers. It started the whole Nintendo revolution, and without it, there'd be no iconic video game industry today.
Definitely Super Mario Brothers because that's the game that everybody's Nintendo Entertainment System came with. So it's the game that everybody played. I love Legend of Zelda, but Super Mario Brothers, everybody knows what it is, even if they don't play video games.
Super Mario's been around
longer, and it's just such an easy game to adapt to. You know, especially from the earlier days, it's so easy, and you know, I think Super Mario.
Super Mario is kind of more well known because, well, I kind of grew up with Super Mario. I didn't even figure out Zelda was a thing until middle school. I don't know. I think it depends on who's around you and who likes what, but Super Mario, it's kind of everywhere.
I grew up on Legend of Zelda and Super Mario, so that's a hard decision for me, but I'm going to give it to Super Mario at this point. It's been around a lot longer.
Legend of Zelda is great. It's a great game. But Mario is just more iconic. You see it everywhere.
Well, everybody knows about Mario Brothers, but Legend of Zelda has that huge story that so many people get into and read into and research. I guess Mario Brothers, because so many people know about it.
Mario, but I like Legend of Zelda better.
I would have to say that Super Mario Brothers is more iconic because I think it has more mainstream recognition than Legend of Zelda.
For the most iconic video game, I believe Super Mario would be the most iconic.
I would say Super Mario Brothers, just because I think Mario is more of an icon than Link, and most people would know him rather than someone that might look like Peter Pan.
I must say that the Super Mario Brothers is the best game of all time. Because, not just because of me, my brother Mario is okay. Yes. And we go through the levels to save the princesses, and we do our job, you know? And we still have a princess that talks. Zelda? No. She talks a little bit here and there, but not as much as Peach. Peach is better.
Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Which video game do you think is more iconic, Super Mario or The Legend of Zelda? I'm Lauren with nerdcaliber.com, and we're here at Magfest 2017. See y'all later.